The film is set during the 1864 Battle of Oraka, when Māori tribes were attacked by British garrison forces. In the story, the warrior Te arrives to defend the land of Oraka and support Rewi's people, vowing to stand his ground and fight with guns and bullets to the very end. Te captures Jack, who is treated as a slave. Jack is tied up in preparation for a ritual sacrifice. A little later, while Jack remains bound nearby, a warrior named Mecca comes to seek guidance from the god of war, speaking through Kopu. Kopu's mother then frees her from the trance using a sacred animal. Her mother warns her not to speak to Jack. However, Jack slips off his gag and asks her to untie him. She does not answer at first, but moments later she says she understands him yet is not allowed to talk with him. Jack insists he is not a half-caste. He only came here with his mother to find his grandmother before she passed away. He believes Kopu's god could heal his grandmother, but Kopu replies that the god only deals in war. Kopu gets up to put Jack's gag back on, but before she can, Mecca returns and takes Jack to see Rewi to extract some information.
And
that the military hat he wears was simply something he picked up. Rewi didn't trust Jack and wanted to see his hands. Te intended to sacrifice Jack as soon as they met the enemy, but Rewi said they no longer honored the gods and wouldn't harm enemy prisoners. Jack pleaded with Rewi, but Rewi instead told the warriors they could do whatever they wanted. Jack was tied up again and left waiting. Meanwhile, Mohi tried to give Kopu a sip of water, but her mother stopped him and sent him away. Her mother forbade her from making friends, which angered Kopu. She was upset that her mother had arrived late and that she was left hungry. While Jack was asleep, dreaming about his mother, a warrior suddenly came to cut his ropes, and Mohi helped free him completely. It turned out Jack was spared thanks to a prophecy from Kopu that anyone who harmed him would face danger. When Kopu's mother learned what happened, she was furious and confronted her. She accused Kopu of ruining everything just because she told the truth to prevent Jack from being sacrificed. Kopu insisted she couldn't lie or cheat as her mother claimed, but this only made her mother angrier. Later, Jack picked up a few peach pits and went back to see Kopu to thank her for saving his life. Kopu confessed she wanted to be free like ordinary people and have friends. So, she decided to smash the shell on her head, and she was overjoyed to finally let it go. Outside the village, an alarm suddenly sounds. British soldiers have surrounded the place. Warrior Mecca bursts into Kopu's place, drags Jack outside, and carries him toward the fort, set up a few days earlier, ignoring Kopu's attempts to stop him. Just as Jack is about to be the first sacrifice of the battle at the hands of Mecca, Kopu begins calling upon the gods. The battle starts, and the British side takes bullet after bullet, soldiers falling one by one. In the chaos, Kopu quickly runs out to rescue Jack from outside the fence. Bullets slam into the dirt, startling Jack, who lets go of Kopu's hand. Her mother pulls her inside, wanting them both to escape before they are shot by the British, but Kopu refuses to leave. She wants to stay to save Jack. While her mother searches for a way out, Kopu releases the talisman. At that moment, the British forces retreat due to heavy losses. Kopu's mother returns, sees the talisman has been released, and is furious, but still forces Kopu to come along, keeping her bound to her role as the medium of God. Right after, Kopu warns Te he will meet the same fate as Mecca if he endangers her. Outside, Jack climbs back in and looks for Kopu, but unfortunately runs into Te. Te goes into a rage but cannot harm him. Jack is taken to the shelter, while Kopu is put into a pit outside the fence. After the evening prayer, Jack, tied in a corner, notices everyone making ammunition. He offers to help. Te allows it, and Mohi cuts his rope, leaving a knife nearby. Jack quickly hides it. Jack works quickly at making bullets, but the conversation grew more tense because one of his best warriors had been killed by Kopu. A gunshot suddenly rings out, and everyone stands up to head outside, except for Jack, whom Te orders to stay and keep making ammunition. That night, when everyone is fast asleep, Jack quietly uses the knife he had hidden earlier to cut his ropes and sneak outside. He sees many fallen warriors and comes across Rewi, who tells him to sit down and listen to Kopu's singing from a nearby pit. Jack wants to rescue her, but Rui says it's not the time yet. The moment Rui's allies attack the British soldiers from behind, Jack climbs up to where Kopu is. He gives her some water and tells her to climb out, but unexpectedly, the talisman she had released earlier falls from somewhere and lands right on her. Believing Jack had deceived her, just as her mother had warned, Kopu decides to stay in the pit, forcing Jack to leave quickly. Tay catches him and fires a warning shot for leaving the bunker. One of Tay's warriors takes Jack back, but luckily Mohi speaks up for him, claiming he had asked Jack to fetch water for the baby. Tay orders Jack to make bullets faster as they are running low on ammo. While Tay was talking with his daughter, the talisman crawls onto T's hand while he is holding the water container, startling him so much that he shoots it. Sensing something is wrong, Kopu begins trying to climb out of the pit. Tay declares that he will destroy the witch Kopu at dawn. Jack overhears this, and the next morning, while making bullets with the younger ones, he decides to take the finished rounds outside with Mohi. He told Mohi to deliver the ammunition to the warriors while he went to look for Kopu. He saw someone crawling nearby, picked up a fallen warrior's gun, and was about to shoot, but Mohi stopped him, saying it was his uncle. Jack didn't believe it, thinking the man had come to kill Kopu. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. The man threw away his gun and pulled Kopu out. The British soldiers began bombarding them with cannons, and soon after, the white flag was raised. The British side wanted to end the battle. Their commander proposed letting the women and children leave, but Rowie insisted on fighting to the end. The negotiation became even more tense when a female warrior declared she would share the same fate as the British soldiers. Meanwhile, just as Kopu was about to be executed, the gunshot made both sides return to combat positions. Everyone charged into close combat, forcing both sides to shed blood once again. Kopu managed to grab a warrior's gun, fired, and quickly retreated back into the pit, sealing the lid shut, even as bullets rained down on the warrior outside. After a brutal melee with the British soldiers, Rewi ordered a retreat. Jack tried once more to rescue Kopu, but hesitated, worried she would reject someone she saw as a liar. Suddenly, a cannonball struck where he was standing. Before he could get back on his feet, a woman holding an umbrella lifted him up and walked him out of there. She walked right past the British soldiers, leaving them all stunned. They paused their fire for a moment as she pulled Kopu away, fixing her gaze on Kopu's mother, who was standing nearby. The woman told Kopu she could return to a place with food, water, clothing, and prosperity, or go back to a life of poverty, suffering, endless hardship. Kopu left with the lady, but the moment they departed, the British forces resumed their assault. Their troops pushed deeper into the trenches, causing more casualties. The warriors withdrew to form a protective circle around the women and children, with Jack and Kopu quickly catching up to join them. But soon, they were trapped, surrounded with no way out. The vulnerable were struck down where they stood. Jack, carrying an injured child, fled together with Kopu and the other children. The British soldiers pursued them, and more people were hit, collapsing into the nearby swamp. Jack, Kopu, and the children decided to wait until it was safe before crawling to a better position. Hearing the sound of mounted soldiers nearby, Jack chose to step out and tell the British troops that he had escaped after being taken prisoner, ensuring the others' safety. He then followed them back to their camp. It turned out Jack was the son of a British officer who was overjoyed to see him again. That night, father and son talked about Jack's future, but Jack had his own plans. His father blamed the rebels for the deaths of Jack's mother and sister, but Jack refused to agree, insisting that his father's authoritarian decisions had indirectly caused their deaths. Jack covered his father with a blanket, then rode off to find Kopu and the children at the swamp. He put Mohi and the injured boy on horseback, and the four of them crossed the marsh. On the way, Jack told Kopu about his family before they parted ways. His father had once been a farmer who married a woman from the indigenous people, but when the war broke out, his father preferred returning to the army over farming. Jack's mother wanted to move north with the child, but his father refused, forcing them to stay nearby. During a chase after the Maori king's warriors, Jack's mother and younger sister were hit by bullets that pierced through the stockade wall. Jack continued leading the children toward Lake Manaho, where fleeing warriors were hiding. For safety, Jack wanted to take the injured child, Kopu, with him to the lake, but Kopu refused to separate. She hoped she could meet the lady. Jack reached into his pocket, took out a peach pit, and told Kopu to plant it. He hugged her and left. Fearing she might lose Jack, Kopu decided to leave Mohi with the other child and follow Jack. Jack reached the lake shore and was met with a heartbreaking sight. Kopu was no longer conscious. The boy lay still on the horse's back, its fur stained red. Kopu, arriving right behind, knew something was wrong and felt deep sorrow. She saw into Jack's past, and Jack admitted admitted he was not a good man. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. Kopu was hit in the arm. It turned out the shooter was Jack's father. Terrified, Jack apologized and promised to return immediately. He admitted to Kopu that he had once destroyed a house and caused the death of a child. She wanted Jack to come with her, insisting she didn't believe he was truly like that. Before they could leave, Tay appeared with his warriors. Mohi stepped in to block Tay before he could harm Kopu. Jack handed Kopu over to Tay, his grandson. Tay turned his anger toward Kopu, but Jack explained that without her, the child would never have made it back. Tay admitted he had misjudged Jack. Jack's father then arrived and demanded his son come with him, threatening to shoot Jack's friends if he refused. But Jack would not abandon a good friend. Suddenly, after placing the boy down,
Jack!
he told the children to get far away, and Tay and Jack's father began to fight. Jack chose to live true to the blood that ran in his veins. The group ran through the forest, and at last Jack was reunited with his grandmother.